Good evening, everyone. It is January 2nd, 2024, and I know I won't be the first, but I hope you would take sincere Happy New Year wishes from me on behalf of this council and the city of Gallatin. It is a new year, time for new beginnings, always time for grace, gratitude, kindness, and I think thankfulness for all the blessings that we have and things that are going to happen in the year ahead. With that, we're going to begin the meeting. We'll begin with our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Carter is going to lead the pledge, and our city engineer, Nick Tuttle, is going to lead us in the invocation.
If you will, please pray with me. Father, we come to you this evening, starting out 2024 with hope, with your promise, and we're looking forward to your promise of making all things new. Father, I pray that as we set out on that path this evening with this group and this council and mayor, Lord, I pray that you would give them wisdom and knowledge to make the right decisions, to work together so that we can create something even better than we would have imagined on our own. And Lord, I just pray that you would bless each of them and bless this great city. We love you. It's in Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and now it's time for the roll call. Ms. Kittrell, please.
Vice Mayor Love.
Here.
Councilman Carter.
Present.
Councilman Fan.
Here.
Councilman Fennell.
Here.
Councilwoman George.
Here.
Councilman Hayes. And Councilman Juvance. Mayor, we have a quorum.
It's so good to have everyone here in this first meeting of the year. Thank you all. Before you this evening, you have the minutes from December 5th, 2023 council meeting.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Love, second by Councilwoman George. Are there any additions or corrections requested? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the December 5th, 2023 meeting minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Minutes are unanimously approved. We'll move now to public recognition on agenda-related items. This is the time of the meeting that anyone may speak on any item that is on the agenda. There's also a period of time at the end of the meeting where you can speak to items that are not on the agenda. I also want to make you aware that there is a public hearing tonight. It's on Ordinance 02311-62 for the change from the mixed-use district to PGC, which amends the Hidden Creek Preliminary Master Development Plan east of Big Station Camp, south of Springdale. So if that's your interest, you may wish to speak on that public hearing. But other than that, you may come forward and speak if you would like to speak on public recognition on agenda-related items. Your time is now. Okay, seeing no one indicating that they wish to speak, I will declare public recognition on agenda-related items closed. And we'll move now to mayor's comments. I'll start with Councilman Juvance earlier today brought to my attention that the Parks Master Plan was to be on this evening's agenda. So without objection, we will add that as item number 2. It will need to be deferred, however, because we still do not have the addition from the consultant that needs to go in it before the final plan is approved. So if that's okay with everybody? Okay. Also under mayor's comments, I've said Happy New Year, certainly. I hope you all had lovely holidays. Our departments navigated some very difficult things. You may have heard about a very tragic accident that happened here in Gallatin on New Year's Eve night. Very hard for those who have to work those kind of accidents. We also continue with the tornado recovery. On a positive note, Mr. DePriest has shared with me just how impressed he is with the volunteer cleanup efforts and what a dent was made just so quickly in getting so much of the cleanup happening. We continue to have outreach from just a few tornado victims asking for support. We put the information out on social media, and there's message boards around town. The Disaster Recovery Center at Gallatin Public Utilities is open. We encourage anyone who suffered damage to go check in with them. They are not just able to help related to not just their help is not just limited to those who are not insured or who are underinsured. They can also connect you to other programs and services that might be valuable as you begin on the path to recovery. So I would encourage everyone to check in there. I wish you would share that with people you know that did suffer damage in the tornado. In fact, in just a minute, I'm going to introduce somebody with the Small Business Administration because it was my impression that the Small Business Administration was just to help businesses, but they're actually to help residents too. And so she's going to talk to that in just a minute. But I again want to say a big thank you to our departments, particularly Public Works, Fire Department, Police Department, who have done such a great job in the aftermath of the tornadoes and helping our community recover. And certainly to our volunteers in our community. I think times like these always make us realize what a great community we live in and how kind and generous and wonderful people are. But with that, I'm going to introduce to you all who's going to share some information with us this evening, Robin Yang, and she's with the Small Business Administration, and she is Public Affairs Specialist with the Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. So welcome, Ms. Yang.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Brown, for the introduction. And my name is Robin Yang, and thank you for her introduction to the DRC. We do have staff, our customer service representative in the DRC too. They're located in the Gallatin Public Utilities. In response to the December 9th tornadoes, we're providing disaster assistance to residents like homeowners, renters, business of all sizes, and nonprofit organizations in Sumner County. And for SBA, we offer low interest disaster loans, and the interest for the homeowners and renters can be as low as 2.688%. And it's we do offer those assistance to cover the uninsured and underinsured losses. And business of all sizes are eligible for up to eligible to up to $2 million actually for disaster assistance for the low interest loan, and the rate is as low as 4%. I forgot to say homeowners for their damaged real estate, the loan is up to $500,000. We hope the residents here and the business here can take advantage of that to recover from the disasters. We also offer economic injury disaster loan for the businesses who are in need of working capitals. For example, for their rent, for their payroll, that is also up to $2 million. One significant benefit for that is there's no payment due until 12 months after the first disbursement of the loan. So it's a great resource for our residents to recover from the disaster. We also offer many something else like mitigation to increase resiliency. So, for example, they can use they can have up to 20% of increase for a mitigation project. For example, to build a storm shelter. To learn more about it, if a resident is interested, they can visit the Gallatin Public Utilities at DRC, the Disaster Recovery Center here locally in Gallatin, and apply directly. If they're interested in apply from online, the website is lending.sba.gov, so that they can apply online directly. If there's any question, feel free to ask me or ask at the DRC. One important thing is the deadline for the physical damage is actually approaching. It's less than a month and a half away. The deadline is February 12, 2024, and for the physical damage, for the EIDL, the economic injury application, the deadline is September 13, 2024. All right, thank you so much for giving me this time, and Happy New Year to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yang, and thank you so much to the SBA for being in our community and connecting with those who need your assistance. I know it's valued. I've actually heard from one business in Hendersonville that's taking advantage of the payroll repayment. I'm sure there's many, but I happen to know of one, and was able to refer a homeowner to you just this morning. So appreciate you all so very much. I'll conclude Mayor's comments with just 3 upcoming events. One is the breakfast at the American Legion this Saturday, Miss Nichols' birthday on the 9th, and on the 15th of this month is the Martin Luther King Junior Day. Most city offices will be closed on that day, and there will be the event that the NAACP puts on each year at noon here at City Hall parking lot, going to Gallatin High School, where they'll have a short program. So those are the events coming up, and with that, we will move on to the regular agenda. So item number 1 is that public hearing I mentioned. It's public hearing on ordinance 02311-62. Councilman Hayes is recognized.
Yeah, this is an ordinance of the city of Gallatin, Tennessee, rezoning 6.17 acres from the MU mixed-use district to the PGC Plan General Commercial District and amending the Hidden Creek Preliminary Master Development Plan located east of Big Station Camp Boulevard and south of Springdale Lane, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is a public hearing.
The public hearing is now open. You may come forward and speak on this if you so wish. Seeing no one, public hearing on ordinance 02311-62 is now closed. Item number 2 is the Parks Master Plan, and you understand the circumstances we're in regarding that.
Motion to defer until we've received the necessary information to update it.
I would ask that we go ahead and put it on the next council meeting.
And we can move it, motion to defer to the next council meeting.
Motion to move it. And motion by Councilman Carter, second by Vice Mayor Love. Are there any questions or problems with doing it that way, Mr. Chivance?
Actually, we got the document this afternoon. We sent it to everybody with some redlining in it. So I think we should be good for next week. East Sand.
Right, so we should have it in time for the next council meeting.
It should be on your mailbox because he sent it this afternoon and I got it and I looked at it, so it's there.
Okay, I see it. All right, thank you. So we have a motion, a second, moving on to the next council work session.
No, council meeting.
Thank you. You're right, council meeting. I'm writing it and saying the wrong thing. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Be on the next council meeting. We'll keep the items numbered the same because we always seem to have confusion when I try and change them. So we'll go to what is numbered as item number 2 on your agenda, which is second reading on the ordinance 02311-55. Councilman Hayes is recognized.
Yes, this is an ordinance waiving tap fees on behalf of Habitat for Humanity. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Hayes, second by Councilman Juvance. Is there any discussion? Okay, this is second reading on ordinance 02311-55. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Passes unanimously. Item number 3 is second reading on ordinance 02311-57. Councilman Fan is recognized.
Mayor, this is an ordinance appropriating $1,241,000 for the repurchase of Lot 1, Phase 2 of the Gallatin Industrial Center, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fan, second by Councilman Carter. Any discussion on this? This is second reading on ordinance 02311-57. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Passes unanimously. Item 4, second reading on ordinance 02311-58. Councilman Juvance.
Thank you, Mayor. It's an ordinance approving purchase and authorizing funds in a total amount of $1.65 million from Water Sewer 2021 bond sales for water treatment plant land purchase. And I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Juvance, second by Councilman Carter. Is there any discussion? Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, this is second reading on ordinance 02311-58. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. passes unanimously. Item 5 is second reading on ordinance 02311-59. Councilman Carter, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance to abandon and vacate a portion of a 40-foot wide right-of-way and a portion of a 14-foot wide alley totaling 0.323 plus or minus acres located west of Northwater Avenue and south of Ross Avenue. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Carter, second by Councilwoman George. Is there any discussion? Okay, this is second reading on ordinance 02311-59. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Second reading passes unanimously. Item 6 is second reading on amended ordinance 02311-60. Councilman Fennell.
Yes, this is an ordinance awarding bid and authorizing funds in the total amount of $4,500,000 from TDAC, ARPA, non-competitive grant, and water sewer 2021 bond sales for Bly Avenue Sewer System Rehabilitation. This is contract 323. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Councilwoman George. Are there any questions? Any discussion? This is second reading on amended ordinance 02311-60. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Passes second reading unanimously. Item 7, second reading on ordinance 02311-61. Councilman Fan.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance appropriating $1,922,930 U.S. Department of Justice Office of the Community Oriented Policing Service COPS FY23 COPS COPS hiring program, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fan, second by Councilman Juvance. Are there any questions, any discussion? I have a fun footnote. Chief Andy says they're fully staffed right now. This is second reading on ordinance 02311-61. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, that passes unanimously, and that makes them ready to hire a bunch more, right? Yes. Item 8, second reading on ordinance 02312-63. Councilman Juvance.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance appropriating $13,000 for arbitrage services, and I so move.
Motion by Councilman Juvance, a second by Councilman Carter. Are there any questions? Is there any discussion? This is second reading on ordinance 02312-63. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Passes unanimously. Item 9 is resolution R2312-105. Vice Mayor Love.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution appointing Jillian Ogden as interim director of planning and setting compensation rate in compliance with Gallatin's Municipal Code, Chapter 2, Article 2, Division 2, Section 2-47, effective as of December 31st, 2023. I so move.
Second.
Wow, Ms. Ogden, that was a motion by Vice Mayor Love and a second by about everybody. Pick one, Ms. Kittrell. All right, any questions, any discussion? I do appreciate her willingness to take on this role. We know she'll do a great job, and that department will continue to operate well, and we're thankful for all of their work, but it's always difficult when change happens, and thankfully she's going to be able to keep it very stable for the foreseeable future. So resolution R2312-105, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Passes unanimously. Item 10 is resolution R2401-2. Councilwoman George.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution approving use of solar lighting in the Nexus development. I so move.
Motion by Councilwoman George. Second by Councilman Carter. Opening the floor for discussion. I'm happy to start. I think and may I comment first, Chief here?
No, go ahead.
I think I was the one that asked all the questions and had all the concerns about it. But I've also spent a lot of time being educated and learning more about the company. I do feel a lot more confident. We had one issue a few weeks ago where we felt like the lights were very dim. We thought it was maybe related to it being a cloudy day. We followed up. They had the not the volume, but, the intensity turned way down, and they can adjust that. And once they're all installed, they'll be able to be adjusted remotely, and they will be monitoring those. They will, of course, be responsible for the replacement and the care and the cost, and then the homeowner's impact, which was another thing I was very concerned about. It's actually much more is much more affordable than I thought. I had no concept, would it be $3,000 to replace a bulb? No, it's like $150. And so the cost, I got a breakdown of each component of the lights and what the cost for replacement was. And the homeowners are going to be responsible for that, and the businesses in the business park. So those were my concerns, and I do feel like they have been addressed. I also do like the idea of having solar lights in the community, if they work well, that has many wonderful implications throughout our community. That's all. Mr. Giovanni.
Thank you, Mayor. I was looking at the contract, and I think I have an issue, Susan. On page 2 of the contract, on the first paragraph, when he's talking about the easement, it says the easement shall automatically extend to any existing or future rights-of-way which are located within the Nexus Master Plan community or contiguous with or immediately adjacent to the property and dedicated for public use. So I have no problem inside the Nexus if we covered, so we don't get it in 20 years, but I don't understand why we extend that to any adjacent easement the city will have right there. So I would like an explanation on that.
I believe that is just in there for ease of the city, so that we wouldn't have to go in and get easements each time. This just automatically extends it without having to get a new agreement. If there are any existing or future right-of-ways, so that they are giving us that easement automatically.
The start of the easement paragraph says the city hereby grants Nexus a perpetual non-exclusive easement. So maybe I read it wrong, but the way if the city grant an easement,
Well, at this point, we can't grant it because we don't have, it's not been publicly dedicated. So upon public dedication, then we could grant. It's something I can talk with them about. This actually, I was out last week, and this got put on the agenda, so I haven't approved this yet. I looked at something months ago, but I believe this has changed a little
And the
bit.
resolution actually says pending attorney's
Right.
approval of
Yeah.
that contract. So I feel like we're just saying yay or nay, and she says yay or nay on whether the contract protects the city, and then we move forward. And I do think that they will be, and Mr. Gibbs, I meant to tell you all, Mr. Gibbs, who has represented with Nexus so many times before, he actually became ill and could not be here. I told them that was fine. But Mr. Fenton, did you want to weigh in on that, or do you think what I said is accurate? No. He said no.
Very accurate, and I think Ms. McCauley's addition or yours, that the fact it does depend on her approval later on. So one of the reasons we're doing it this way is it takes about 30 days from them to get things ordered. And so during that 30 days, while the order is being placed, Susan will have time to go through there and ensure that the city is fully protected. And as she mentioned, the parts that you were referring to does allow, in the future for us to go ahead and have access to that without having to come back here and work on it.
Satisfactory.
yes, ma'am.
Anything else with
Thank you.
anything?
I got a question.
Okay.
You said they can switch the brightness up and down. Did anybody look at that
The police department's looking at them all the time. I am not. But I have seen enough evidence of enough applications of this type of light in different areas now that I'm confident they're going to be dependable. And I may have shared with you all, I may not have, actually started, I got so interested, I started thinking about, what applications do we have within the city where we could utilize them? Pickleball courts are a very popular use.
They're responsible for replacing the bulbs.
For 20 years. And that was part of my concern initially, but then when we started talking about the cost and the expectation that the cost of components goes down over a period of time, because it's also the solar panels, the lights, batteries, but they're really not as expensive as I expected them to be.
How long's the bulb last?
I think they said 10 years. Anyone else? And I had all that stuff with me when we had this, was supposed to be on the meeting several weeks ago, but I have since let it get to the bottom of my pile. Happy to send it to you if you have it all in an email. But anyway, okay, so y'all ready to move forward? This is resolution R2401-2. Say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. I thought you were trying to get my attention. That might work. Okay, that concludes the regular agenda. It brings us now to other business. I do have one item I just wanted to share with this body, but I'll let you guys go ahead if anybody has anything that you'd like. Mr. Carter.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to let everyone know that the Stay Warm Shelter at First Baptist East Winchester is open on any day that the temperature is going to be below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you know any unhoused individuals, please let them know that that service and resource is available to them. Also, Felicia Lewis is the contact person, and if you have a church group or another nonprofit group, any civic organization group that would like to volunteer, you can contact her. The number is 615-230-5906. Some days there are no people showing up, some days there are a few people, but that resource is out there, so let's make sure we're getting that out there to our unhomed friends and make sure that we are doing our part to volunteer and get that staffed.
I will add on to that First Baptist is very generous to provide the facility. I think the hours are 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Oh, yes, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.
And that's for both volunteers and those seeking shelter.
Yeah,
So-
I manned it last night from about 9 to 5. I left at 5 because there was no one there. But if you have a concern about not being able to stay up all night, you can split that shift and find other people to work the beginning or the later end. And actually, the mayor and I were going to go back and work together one day.
That I can handle half of staying up all night, but I don't think I can stay up all night. So,
Yes, or if there's like a day that you want to volunteer, I'll volunteer with anybody else as well.
yeah,
All right.
very good. Thank you. Did you have something? Okay.
Maybe you can help me on that. I was looking, go for financial, I had time to do that. And I was looking at the rates, the resource authorities charging the city. And I remember that there was a comment that the rates were going to go up, but I don't remember our body voting to approve these rates.
I'm really lost. I'm sorry.
What now?
The rates, the rate the Resource Authority Board charged the city.
Resource Authority.
Yeah,
Okay.
charged the city. I remember saying that the rates were going to go up for that, and they went up. But I don't remember our body voting to approve these rates to go up.
I don't know that we have an option to approve.
It's in a charter. It's in a charter. So, because that's a lot of money. So,
We'll have to follow up on that one.
yes, please.
I don't even, I know we do sign like an agreement periodically, but it's kind of like we sign with the library. It's not something that we really have the option not to do, you know? So, because kind of roped in there. Okay, anything else, anybody? Okay, the last thing that I had, and this is just an FYI, I've been asked, really, by no victims, but by some people in the community, if we waive fees for tornado victims, like for their permits and their inspections and the like. I want to let you know that that is historically what we have done in these circumstances, but also in the situation of a fire or whatever. And so our codes department handles that, and that is, you know, going on. And they've already waived some, they said. So, again, that's something you might want to share with those who are impacted. Mr. Fidel? Oh, that was it? That's all?
Probably 6 or 7 years ago, I made a vote that I thought about, and I knew that I made the wrong vote, and I brought it back before this council, and I changed my vote. What I'm alluding to, probably about a month ago, we voted on a development. It made it all the way to the first reading, and I voted against that. But the reason why I voted against that is because our planning director at that time said there was opposition about that vote on the planning committee. And I didn't understand it. I figured, my way of thinking was that the plan right at the very last moment, the developer changed the FMDP and made it something that the planning committee didn't really like, and I didn't take the time to ask the questions, and I voted no. But I would like to bring that back up and put it on the agenda. And that night when I left, I called Bill McCord and asked him some questions about the development, of which I did support the development all the way up until the first reading when that come up about the opposition. The second reading, okay, I couldn't, I thought it was the first reading.
Can you remember the name of the development?
I don't remember the name of it, but it's at the corner of Airport Road and Hartsville Pike.
At one point, it was called H something Townhomes.
The one that we had voted down several times in the past.
Ms. Ogden knows.
But Bill McCord, when I talked to him that night, and I did reach out to Matt Harrison the very same night to get a clarification of what happened, and Bill said before he left, now this has been a while, Christmas kind of messed that up a little bit, but Bill told me that he would do some kind of timeline and why the reason of the opposition come up about that development, and at the time it come up and why it come up. But I would like to bring that back to this body right here.
Is that the one that was just voted down a few weeks ago?
I think it's about a month ago now.
It was, it passed, I think I'm correct in this. I think it passed first reading.
Yes.
And then it failed second reading. And the confusion that was created, and I tried to explain it, was because it came through to this body with a staff recommendation against approving it. It came to the Planning Commission with a staff recommendation to approve it with conditions. The Planning Commission actually upheld most of the conditions, but not one that Mr. McCord really felt needed to be in there, which had to do with the width of a greenway at a certain portion within the
Can we
property.
bring this back up so that I'll feel
Yeah.
better about it?
Well, I'm just trying to put it out there clearly, what the issue was, and then figure out what does the motion need to be, and does it need to go back to a work session, or can it go straight to a council meeting? And I will ask Ms. Macaulay.
If it's the one that I'm thinking about, I thought that it failed on first reading. Is that correct?
Oh, okay, then
I
I'm
think it
wrong.
failed on first reading. You could take it back to a work session if you wanted to discuss it some more, or the proper motion, I think, is a motion to, I think it's motion to renew, I think is under Robert's rules would be the appropriate motion, and to put it back on. You could put it directly back on a council agenda for a first reading, if that is what you.
Can Julian, or Susan, can I just send it back to planning and let you review it again? Is that necessary?
I don't know that that's necessary, but you can ask Ms. Ogden.
Because even when I talked to Matt Harris about it, he raised a couple of questions to me about it.
Yeah, it had a council committee here, and I believe it failed at the first reading at the beginning of December. Planning Commission has a recommendation. I believe they recommended for it with a number of conditions. So I
Did
think
to the planning commission, but not to this body, and that's why it was so confusing.
I think that perhaps Mr. McCord changed the staff report between the Planning Commission
Well, that's what got me
and
when
the
I heard.
council. And I don't recall that ever happening before, but I think that is what occurred. I think there was a change in the staff report from after planning recommended it, then when it was brought to council, there were some issues.
I think there was one condition that the Planning Commission voted for, but Planning Department did not agree with. It was something about the Greenway. So I think that might be where some of the confusion came in.
That was not just a greenway, and the staff report was pretty clear on several places where the staff was opposing that development, that the word was in a staff report. And like I say, when we talk about it, for all the years I've been there and reading staff report, that the first time I see in a staff report the word oppose the development. Generally, you know, it's favored, not in favor, recommend, don't recommend, but this one was pretty clear that was opposed. So,
And I've never, the years that I've been here, I've never seen it come up like that, opposed on the first reading, but I felt bad about it ever since. I'm going to make a motion that we put this back into planning, and I want to see what planning does with it.
We can't do it
I
planning.
don't know what that looks
I thought we
like.
can. Let's just I'll make a motion, we put it back on a work session here.
I'll second that.
Next work session. Motion to have, let's,
Wait, am I the only one that's confused in this?
I was
I voted
confused.
for
I
it.
think we're all confused at this
Clearly.
point because I could have sworn it
Well, I
was
just don't
separated.
feel that I've done justice with the developer, and that's why I want to do it.
So we're going to put that, I have a motion, a second for it to go on the next work session, which would be next Tuesday. And Ms. Ogden can kind of put together the timeline of what transpired and what had approval and what didn't and what caused the conflict. And you can just present that all again for discussion and maybe we can get a clearer picture and then you can decide what y'all want to do with that. So I have a motion, a second to put on next week's work session. Any discussion about that?
I think the confusion for me has been that we had it on the planning, it was approved there, and then I was thinking it was the second, but it was the
Maybe that's why I
first.
feel that way too, with that stuff on planning.
Yes.
Could be. Okay.
Good.
So
No,
all in
I'm see.
favor of having it on next week's work session, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no.
No.
Okay, I believe that is 5 yeses and 2 nos. Am I correct in that? You're correct. Okay. So that passes 5-2. It'll be on next week's work session. And any other business?
What we're doing with following the interview on the applicant for the planning director
Oh,
position.
thank you. I have that. That was at the very top of my agenda and I failed to mention it. Do you all want to put on next week's work session discussion of filling the planning director position?
Yes, ma'am.
Planning director, what if can I add to that?
I don't know what you're thinking. What do you mean?
You want to apply?
I'm thinking about starting to discuss the office of the EDA.
That's not this body's decision to address.
We don't do that.
There were interviews today.
Okay, yes, the interviews were conducted today. That's why I'm asking that.
I will come back to what Sean just said, but yeah, I make a motion to bring discussion on the planning director applicant at the next work session.
Motion by Councilman Juvant.
I'll second that.
Second by Councilman Carter. All in favor of having the planning director position on next week's work session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it will be there. And I probably would have put it on there, but I did want to ask you all, so thank you for that.
Yeah, I want to, I think I understand what Sean is talking. I don't think he's talking about the position of the director of the EDA. He's talking about the EDA department. Is that right?
Right, and that's not this body's decision.
We pay these people.
I agree. Remember, I tried to change things some time ago, and I got not much cooperation from my friends
But
up here.
that's, we can bring to discussion. I know you try to change, but things can change too.
I'm trying to think, I mean, I have had several meetings with EDA board members to this point to figure out what their process is moving forward. You can certainly put it on the work session, but I think they are still trying to figure out how they want to see the agency proceed, and they're certainly the ones closest to it at this point. I would want to engage them and their feedback before we made any decisions. I don't know that they are ready to have a conversation because they're still exploring lots of thoughts at this point. That's my thought.
I'm okay with that.
Sean, so,
Me too.
excuse me, Sean, what exactly were you wanting to do? Just bring it to the table to discuss?
I think there's a good discussion that could be made on the EDA, but like I said, let's let Paige or let the committee go through and see just exactly what they want to do.
Mr. Fenton's still here for 2 more months. He's looking
I
at
just
you
wanted to,
like, hey, you're right.
see what you were saying. Okay, gotcha.
2 months will come quick, so
Pardon me?
2 months are gonna come really quick.
I understand, but there is also good systems, good current status known of projects, some projected outlook. It's not like they're working, so it's a different scenario with their workload and the way that they work. And you have 2 very capable people that are in that office. And so I'm less worried in that situation than I might be in some others. So I know planning's in great hands with Ms. Ogden, but she also has other big plans this year. Anyone else? All right. At this time, we'll go to public recognition on non-agenda related items. Anyone that has anything that they'd like to speak to that's not on the agenda, you look like you're ready to jump out of your seat. You can come on up and you can speak to it. You'll have 5 minutes. We ask that you give us your name and address. And welcome. We will begin public recognition on non-agenda related items.
Renee Saunders, 2092 Rodman Boulevard, and I'm sorry, I just can't help it when I come to the meetings. I wanted to say thank you to, I don't know who's in charge of environmental services, the Department of Environmental Services. Michael Robertson, is that you? Oh, okay. Okay, so he's probably the one that came to my house. And he also answered an email related to the loss of a trash can during the tornado. So something just so simple, but I had another trash can that needed to be repaired. I stopped by the office. He was out the next day. Didn't have the right part, but he came back just a few minutes after he left, and he was really wonderful, very nice to work with, and I really appreciated it. So if you'll just, I told him thank you, but I also told him I would recognize him at the meeting. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but that previous decision that you all made was very odd and interesting, and I only wish that the citizens actually had more ability to comment on some of the issues that get discussed here. And it just seems odd that you all would be rehashing an issue that you've dealt with appropriately. I mean, unless this was a one vote kind of thing, it seems really weird that y'all would talk about this again. But this is Tennessee politics, or however, meetings are allowed to happen and that kind of thing. But good luck with that.
Anyone else wishing to speak under public recognition on non-agenda related items? Seeing none, I'll declare public recognition on non-agenda related items closed. I will share with you that Public Works has also been busy in the tornado aftermath, finding the proper owners of trash cans. And so one of the fun things they got to do was to return found trash cans to the rightful owner. I thought it was fun that they were able to do that. And then Ms. Saunders, related to what you said about bringing something back up, that happens actually throughout government entities where you can renew a motion if something, if you and that, I know exactly what he's talking about, and that was so confusing that night, and I was frustrated because I didn't think it was being communicated well, and I think that he since it's understood. It's odd, it's unusual that it happens. I understand that the public observation of that, it might feel very, very strange. But I would also tell you that you can always reach out to me or to any of your council members if you want clarification or better understanding on anything. You see that our public meetings aren't necessarily teeming with people. And so and it's the 2nd of January. I mean, so many people are still in holiday mode. But I can understand what you're saying totally. But that is a standard motion to renew a vote that someone had second thoughts about. With that?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Carter, second by Councilman Hayes. All in favor, say aye. Ladies and gentlemen, good night. The start of a new year.
Can we get a picture in our shirt?